Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning, dear Iowa. Good morning to you. Well, here we are, end of May, and all hell's breaking loose. What is going on? I mean, we've got the coronavirus, got us locked down, got us scared, got us wearing masks, got us wearing gloves, got us questioning relatives who want to come over, making me feel guilty inviting my grandkids over. I got to wear a mask wherever I go. Less people are wearing masks now. I guess 2 months of lockdown is too much. I consider these people to be illiterate, poorly educated, at least. Maybe Fox News listeners or people that don't listen to the news at all. Because people that run in and out of Come and Go and our Casey's gas stations here around central Iowa, or Quick Trip or whatever, they run in there without their masks, or they spit when they get out of their truck, or flick their cigarettes right before they go in. I mean, we have a rude and a society that has developed. And I'll talk more about one of my books later, but I have written a short book, less than 200 pages, under $10. It's called the KMA syndrome. KMA, of course, stands for Kiss My Ass. It is a syndrome, an active syndrome in society for at least the last 20 years. It was developed by the children of the Vietnam era. They don't care. They've been abused, overlooked, ignored. They're smart enough to realize that the government has raced past them, has ignored them. They stand in line and get bits and pieces and little crumbs. Today is Saturday, May 30th, and I'm telling you, this is just ugly news. I'm going to open up with USA Today. Okay, this is national news, and guess who's on the front page of USA Today? Minneapolis, Minnesota. Used to be white bread, Scandinavian, Swedish, German, Norwegian descent, good hard workers, whatever. It's turned into a melting pot over the last 10, 15 years, which a lot of cities. Minneapolis was big and productive, and they had the largest social network. They used to talk, when I lived up there, that there'd be busloads of people coming from Chicago. They'd give them a one-way ticket coming out of Chicago, and they'd drop them off in Minneapolis because the Illinois food stamps or the Illinois network would only give them $350 in unemployment, and as soon as you got off the bus in Minneapolis, you were eligible for $660. Well, you don't see that in the news at all, but that started at least 20 years ago or more as the melting pot developed. We also go way back to Vietnam era, where the population of the Twin Cities started to swing quite a bit to the Laotian, Hmong, Vietnamese. I remember when I was working for the post office when I first got out of the Navy, and that would have been in the early 1980s up in Minneapolis. There were some apartment complexes that were entirely Hmong or Vietnamese or Laotian. There was one building, probably had 20 families in it. last name was Tran, T-R-A-N-H, Tran. Everybody had the same last name. So the carrier in that building just handed the tray of mail off to what was the elder of the building. It's kind of like walking into a grass hut village, finding the senior man, the holy man, the elder, and handing him the prize of the day, the mail. And then that elder would hand the mail out, because how do you decipher between 20 different families with the same last name when you can't speak the language? Well, that was in the early 1980s, and things have progressed from there. Okay, back to the USA Today. This is the headline, Saturday, May 30th. Minneapolis cop who knelt on man arrested. Okay? For those that haven't been watching the news, here, let me catch you up to date. The guy's name is Derek Chauvin. He's charged with third-degree murder. This article was written by Tim Sullivan and Amy Forlitti out of the Associated Press. Dateline, Minneapolis. The white Minneapolis police officer who knelt on George Floyd's neck was arrested on murder charges Friday and accused in court papers of ignoring another officer's concerns about the handcuffed black man who died after pleading that he could not breathe. Derek Chauvin, 44, was charged with third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter in the case. That sparked protests across the United States and fires and looting in Minneapolis. It goes on today. This is the fourth day. They just declared an emergency in the state and have called out the National Guard. 2,500 National Guards, fully armed, are now going to be patrolling the streets in the Twin Cities because they've identified that outside sources, people that don't even live in Minnesota, are now racing into the Twin City area to help foment the rioting. They've had pictures of people all dressed up, breaking windows and throwing Molotov cocktails in to start fires in foreign-operated little grocery stores and clothing stores and grocery stores. And, I mean, it is not local. It has turned into a national news. Derek Chauvin was charged with third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter. An attorney for Floyd's family welcomed the arrest, but said he expected a more serious murder charge and wanted all the officers arrested. There were 4 officers involved with George Floyd's arrest and murder, and only one of them has been arrested. Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman said more charges were possible. He said the investigation into the other 3 officers continues, but authorities felt it appropriate to focus on the most dangerous perpetrator. Chauvin allegedly disregarded the worries of the other officer, who wanted to roll Floyd onto his side, according to the criminal complaint. The papers also said that an autopsy revealed nothing to support strangulation as the cause of death. The exam concluded that the combined efforts of being restrained, potential intoxicants in Floyd's system, and his underlying health issues, including heart disease, likely contributed to his death, according to the complaint. Floyd's family was seeking an independent autopsy. Police were trying to put Floyd in a squad car on suspicion of passing a counterfeit $20 bill when he stiffened up and fell to the ground, saying he was claustrophobic. Chauvin and Officer Thoa arrived to help and tried several times to get Floyd, who was a very big man. They tried several times to get Floyd into the car, but he struggled. The complaint says, in all, Chauvin had his knee on Floyd's neck for 8 minutes 46 seconds, including nearly 3 minutes after Floyd stopped moving and talking, according to the complaint. All 4 officers who were at the scene of Floyd's death have been fired. It was not immediately clear whether Chauvin's arrest would quiet the unrest Thursday night. Demonstrators torched a Minneapolis police station that officers had abandoned. It was Precinct 3, which is right down on Lake Street and Minnehaha Avenue, for those that are from the Twin City area. Lake Street and Minnehaha used to be the old Minneapolis Moline store, and then they tore that down. They turned that into a Target. The Target has been torched and looted and vandalized, and that is closed. And there are 5 different Targets in the area that have been closed due to damage. There appears to be damage developing and around the Minneapolis and St. Paul area, not just to that Minnehaha and Lake Street location. Somebody seems to have organized, or a group have organized, they're going to spread everybody out with different fires and looting, and it sounds like anarchy is upon us. On Friday morning, nearly every building in the shopping district around the abandoned police station had been vandalized, burned, or looted. Dozens of fires were also set in nearby St. Paul, where nearly 200 businesses were damaged or looted. News of the arrest came moments after Minnesota Governor Tim Walz acknowledged the abject failure of the response to the protests and called for swift justice for officers involved. Walz said the state has taken over the response to the violence and that it's time to show respect and dignity to those who are suffering. The owner of the popular Latin nightclub said Floyd and Chauvin worked as security guards at the club as recently as the end of last year. But it's not clear whether they worked together. That's going to be another story that's going to come unfolding. Right next to the headlines of the Minneapolis cop being arrested is President Trump. Throwing gas on the fire, I'm sorry to say, but this is kind of an unfortunate situation. I've never had anything like this in my lifetime. Barbara Ortute and Matt O'Brien from the Associated Press are writing that the Trump shooting tweet has been obscured. Twitter escalated tensions with President Donald Trump on Friday, adding a warning to one of his tweets for the first time and saying he violated the platform's rules by glorifying violence when he suggested protesters in Minneapolis could be shot. Trump has been railing against the company since Twitter earlier this week, when it, for the first time, applied fact checks to 2 of his tweets. Those were about mail-in ballots. The Trump tweet that was flagged Friday came amid days of violent protests over the death of George Floyd, a handcuffed black man who pleaded for air as a white police officer kneeled on his neck. Mr. Trump tweeted that these thugs are dishonoring the memory of George Floyd, and I won't let this happen. Just spoke to Governor Tim Walz and told him that the military is with him all the way. Any difficulty and we will assume control. But when the looting starts, the shooting starts. Thank you. Twitter did not remove the tweet, saying it had determined it might be in the public interest to have it remain accessible. But the tweet was hidden so that a user looking at Trump's timeline would have to click on the warning to see the original tweet. Hiding it also effectively demotes the tweet by limiting how users can retweet it. Now that's all brand new stuff for Twitter, which is basic fodder for Mr. Trump ever since he got in. He's on Twitter 30, 40 times a day. Sometimes it's been reported that he's on Twitter at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he's been on more than 100 times in a 24-hour period. Now that's a lot of activity on one social media. And to top that off, the Supreme Court justices, following the brutal death of George Floyd at the hands of the Minneapolis police, has re-energized a national debate over misconduct by law enforcement officials that the Supreme Court may be poised to enter. The justices could announce as early as Monday that they will consider whether law enforcement and other officials continue to deserve qualified immunity that protects them from being sued for official actions. The High Court itself established that protection in a series of decisions dating back several decades, letting police off the hook unless their behavior violated clearly established laws or constitutional rights. Lower courts have used that standard to uphold almost any actions not specifically forbidden. So, there you go. That's just the short, sweet news coming out of central Iowa, and you can't see the smoke from Minneapolis, but you can sure sense it. It's headlines. I lived up there many years. My wife is from Minneapolis, and we're both just so shocked at the police actions up there. And it's like seeing a third world country. You got rioting, tear gas, stun guns, shock grenades. They're burning a police station, and this is in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This isn't in a third world country. Or is it? It's been nice talking to you today. We'll be talking to you again. This is Grandpa Jim, hashtag Grandpa Jim from Central Iowa. Confused, upset, and angered by what's going on in the state of Minnesota. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.